G'day everybody and welcome to the House of Mario, the South Australian Nintendo podcast that is backed by 120 Power Star rating. I'm your host Drew Agnew and the doors to episode 183 are open. This week on the show we've got a very special guest. His name is Buddy Watson and surely you've heard him on the show before, but if you haven't, Buddy, it's fantastic to have you here and hope a lot of people enjoy your sort of gaming journey throughout the years.
Thanks, man. It's good to be back, and it's good to see your beautiful face once again. I can't wait to see that beautiful face. Hope at the end of the year with her PAX, hoping all things go well. So,
Cool. So that's the thing, buddy. I haven't got a ticket yet. I know Bryce is 100% sure he's not going, and I'm like, I want to go, so I'm pretty sure I will secure a ticket. Just to make sure. I don't want to get closest to the event and be like, should have nailed down a ticket. But gotta be honest, buddy. I'm a little bit wary, but don't know. I know things are getting better, but
yeah, it's tough for, I guess, like people like you and me, interstate travelers, because you don't want to get onto a plane, get down there to Melbourne, and all of a sudden you get off a plane. It's like, well, everyone that's not from here has to leave by the end of the day, or you got to be quarantined here for 14 days or some crazy scenario like that. Like, I guess if that happens, so be it. But I guess the worst thing would be getting like caught in a quarantined hotel for 14 days, $3,000 out of pocket. So a little bit more risk for people like you and me. But hopefully by the end of the year, it's things are a little bit better. Obviously the government's doing its best to fuck up the rollout, but fingers crossed. Fingers crossed we get there.
Yeah, absolutely. And PAX Australia, it's definitely a highlight of my year, and I know it's a highlight of like yours and a lot of other of our friends as well. So definitely hope it goes forward, and I hope it is the big fun event that it usually is. But to be honest, I'd be happy if I just went to Melbourne and went to like one of my mates' place and just played Smash. Or
absolutely.
Play some games and that. So that might even be an option on the tables too if don't necessarily want to go to a big convention center and do that type of thing too. But yeah, man, hopefully it's all good.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. So, buddy, I've brought you on this episode to talk about your gaming history and a fun little aspect of your history as far as you growing up with video games as well. Your grandparents had a video game store that you actually participated in a lot and found out a lot of games through them, which is really interesting. I could only imagine family members holding a store like that and being able to like just like, oh, what's this, and just having so much flexibility in that with what you can try and all that. So, where do we start?
Well, like you say, it is kind of weird looking back at it now, because at the time as a kid, I definitely took that for granted. That was just the norm. That was the business that they owned. So I think my nan and pop started that business when we lived in Mildura, which I guess you would know of, being a South Australian resident. You would know exactly where Mildura is, the top end of Victoria, on the border of Victoria, South Australia, and New South Wales, and the lovely Murray River there. So they were like a military family. We were a military family. My nan and pop were in the army. So every 3 years we'd move around, do the assignments or whatever, and it was pretty much it. I think Pop wanted to get out of the army at that time. Same with Nan as well. They'd had a few kind of injuries and that kind of stuff, so it was kind of getting past them. They'd all each done 20 years plus. So there was an opportunity that Pop had with someone that he was friends with through the army, and that was to purchase this business, which I think at the time there was like another type of business that was the same, like a franchise type thing, but there weren't too many around. The name of the business was called the Game Seller. So we moved to Mildura. That was the opportunity. I think Nan was still doing recruiting there, like part time, like for some of the reserves, and then Pop went into business with one of his friends from the army, and there you go. They brought the Game Seller, which was basically the concept of it was like a video store, like a Video Easy or Civic Video Blockbuster or anything, but instead of like hiring out, DVDs, or I guess they were VHS at the time.
Yeah.
It was basically all the games. Instead of having just that little portion of games in the corner, the whole store was dedicated to that. So you have a complete wall of your Super Nintendo, your Mega Drive, at the time, the PlayStation 1, Sega Saturn, and then Nintendo 64 came out when we had that business as well. So it was just like a plethora of choice. And for me, I think at the time I would have been maybe 8 or 9 or 10 growing up, and we had that across a few years though. So for me, thinking about what I had in the choice and all that kind of stuff that I took for granted then, now I look back and I'm like, wow, I had like a Netflix. I had the original Game Pass service at my fingertips with all those games on hand. So the Super Nintendo would have been my first foray into video games, but like the pop shop there was definitely the one that kind of latched its claws into me and made me love video games, able to like try everything and stuff. So had some really good memories from Game Seller and Pop owning that store.
Yeah, was your Pop into sort of video games before that, or was it just a business opportunity that sort of got laid out before him?
Well, maybe a bit of both, because the business would have been, I think it was 94 or 95. It's hard to kind of remember through the years if I'm counting in threes, if the deployments were like that, would have been around that time. Nan and Prop probably have more accurate memories if I ask them. But I know one Christmas we got the Super Nintendo, and that was we had Super Scope 6.
Oh, yeah.
Which was fantastic. That was the first game we had. And I think we also had the other like Super Mario World, and ended up getting Link to the Past and everything like that. But because Nan and Pop were in the military, like my Nan, she tried the Super Scope and she was actually really good at it. So that was one of like the first kind of games that we played. And obviously Pop got into it there as well. And then I guess him owning the business, he just had to be on top of things, selling consoles and all that kind of stuff. And it's kind of weird in a way, because I kind of do that in my life now with what my job is. So it's come full circle, kind of reflecting on it. I've just kind of had that epiphany moment.
just come full circle. It's like, wait a minute, I'm doing what my Pop did, selling.
Yeah, that's right.
But in your job, you might be like, would you be a bit more honest, because it's not necessarily like all your business? We're like, you don't need, this B grade game or whatever on Xbox One. Go and get the best exclusives on PS4. Would you be more like that, or?
Yeah, definitely. And I think my Pop is that kind of character anyway. I think that comes across with a person's character, regardless of whether you're a business owner or not. And people can see through that when you're being disingenuous and kind of just making things up on the spot. So I'm in my profession and what I do, I'm definitely honest, and people are like, hey, this Rocket Arena, is this any good, or should I get this Battleborn, or what should my kid get, or whatever, or this and this, and you go by the age, and you just be honest, because I guess that's the best advice you can give. Like, you've just got to be as a salesperson or someone that has can offer this advice to the people that don't know, parents or whatever, these new people into gaming. They're trusting you. So, if you're going to give them something that they may not like, or, is not inside their wheelhouse that you're recommending based on, kind of getting to know that person, then they're going to remember that, and they're going to know, well, why did this person dud me? I'm not going to go back to that person there. And it's not like I don't own the business or whatever, but, and I don't have that mentality. Like it's the business. I don't care, but I'd rather, the person or a customer, I guess, get the right things they need, and also not get gypped. Like, I've had so many experiences when people have come in like, oh, thank you for being so honest about this game or this accessory, or not pushing me to that thing or this thing or whatever, and giving me like honest advice. And like, they tell me about horror stories at other kind of retailers. Like, I just came from X or Y or Z, and they weren't really helpful, or even similar, the same place that I work, but other stores of that. Like, well, the other guy there wasn't helpful, the other girl wasn't there helpful. It's just like, oh, okay, well, I guess that's just me. So
yeah, it makes no sense, because like, you might get the one sale if you're being dishonest, saying, "Oh, this was a ripper game. You should definitely buy this one." You make your $30, but that person will never come back because they'll be like, "This guy sold me a crap game, and I'll never be able to take his opinion or his recommendation at surface level ever again." But if you're like, "Oh, you know what, this Mario 3D All Stars is pretty good. It's 3 games. I'm sure you'll enjoy it," and they take it home and their kid absolutely loves it, that parent is more likely to come back and be like, all right, what else is good on Nintendo Switch and PlayStation and whatever, because you did generally give them a great recommendation, which actually benefited them.
Yeah, exactly. It's the business, the money. I don't make the money here. I don't care. I get paid regardless. So I don't want my reputation as being like, oh, this person doesn't know what they're talking about, or they have no idea about these type of games or whatever. Like I want them, I want that kind of be a person that you can go to and be trusted. So
yeah, absolutely. So one of your first consoles that you mentioned before was the Super Nintendo. Do you have many memories of like going through, whether it's did you have like your own games, or did you just like borrow the games from the store or stuff like that?
I had my own games, and then we would just take from the store. I guess whatever wasn't rented out, we could just take home at the time, bring it back to the store the next day, or even at the store, there was this cool thing. I guess instead of having arcade cabinets set up, we would have TVs lined up like 1, 2, 3, kind of elevated on a shelf. We had the console down on a shelf below, and then that would go across, and then there'd be a counter, and you'd be able to go in and say, here's $2, and you get 10 minutes. So instead of going to an arcade and putting $1, $2 in a machine and maybe dying instantly or crapping out or whatever, you just pay $2 for your 10 minutes. And as long as we had the game on the shelf, you're able to just go up there and say, all right, cool, here's whatever. Secret of Mana, I want to try this. Can I play this? Here's $2. There's your 10 minutes. And as long as it was available, you could just do that. So in the shop, we had like a Super Nintendo, Mega Drive, PlayStation, Saturn. I'm pretty sure we had a Nintendo 64. Yeah, we had a Nintendo 64 set up when we got the 64s in as well. And you'd go in there, you pay $2 and say you want to do some multiplayer or whatever, and away you'd go. So I'd be sitting in the store, just playing Mario Kart 8 or GoldenEye, and there'd be people like want to just walk up to me like, oh, can I play? And they would just jump in, and I got very good at GoldenEye very quickly as a kid, and I obliterated some people. So I feel like a kind of like a pool shark, even though I wasn't getting any of this money, but they're like, oh, I'm going to play this kid or whatever. So
yeah, I could imagine just all the time you've got as a kid and having like all that access, you just be like, yeah. Just
but
hone your skills so well.
I do remember like with the Super, like you were saying before about whether I owned the game or borrowed the games and took them home and stuff. Like I remember we kind of had access to, like, I'm pretty sure it was Pop's business partner that was kind of really ingrained in it. I think at one point he even owned a 3DO, which were quite expensive at the time. And I remember like going around his house and we played the board game, or not the board game, but the game show trivia type game that was on there. And I remember it like being almost like a DVD setup, like real people throwing out the questions and stuff like that. But he was also had like the NTSC cartridge converter, so we had a lot of imported American cartridges as well. And that's actually how I got to play Earthbound. We had a copy of Earthbound with the NTSC cartridge, and that became one of my favorite games. I knew we had that at the time, so I got access to some really cool stuff.
Yeah, I can imagine playing Earthbound, for $2 for 10 minutes. Could you imagine that?
Yeah, that's it. Just watch a little bit of the movie and away you go. Yeah,
because did like many kids come in and play like Mario Kart and stuff with you, or was it a lot of just like more single player experiences, just checking them out?
I think it was a lot of single player experiences, but the 64 would have been the thing that changed it. Having 4 controller ports and having 4 controllers set up, like I really think the Nintendo 64 was like really one of the first like multiplayer party. Like it really encouraged that kind of experience, and like a lot of people credit GoldenEye to being that multiplayer first person shooter that kind of we get the type of stuff we get now. But maybe it's just the Nintendo 64 console as a whole. Like, Smash Brothers was there, so look at how big Smash is now, and that was fantastic. Like other consoles, PlayStation, you have to get a multi-tap or other stuff like that. So,
yeah, were you like a big James Bond fan before GoldenEye, or did GoldenEye, was that kind of the gateway drug into the more of the James Bond franchise?
Nah, huge James Bond fan. So
Cool.
obviously growing up with Nan and Pop, like when we would go to the video stores and everything, I was pretty much, I had open slather. Like Nan and Pop would get the one or two new releases, and then I was the go get your 5 weeklies or whatever. So once again, I guess that helped growing up and discover my love for film and open my eyes to different genres. And Nan and Pop at the time, they all loved James Bond from the get-go, so they recommended that, and getting a lot of those and hiring them out and experiencing them for the first time. And my Nan absolutely loved GoldenEye. She loved Pierce Brosnan. I think Pierce is still one of her favorite actors to play Bond, and GoldenEye was fantastic, and it was just like the perfect tie-in at that time. So
yeah, that's cool how your Nan seems to have like just really loved video games. That's really cool. And even though Pierce Brosnan is a lot more I was about to say pixelated, not pixelated, but he's got a lot more polygons in the Nintendo 64 version of himself, but he's still handsome enough. He's still got that.
Yeah. Well, Nan, she wasn't really super into the video games. It was more so Pop, but the James Bond as a franchise, she loved that stuff. And it's funny you talk about that, because you look at it, from the top down camera, third person, then it goes into goes third person, then goes into first person, and then you start the level or whatever. You see the likeness. I'm like, damn, that's Brosnan, man. That's Brosnan. That's Bond. Has no face. So realistic. Look at the graphics. Wow.
Yeah,
and it's not a game that's held up, to be honest. Like, if you weren't there experiencing that on a Nintendo 64 controller, if you were to go back and experience that now, I find it very hard for a lot of people to be able to probably play that and say, you know what, this was genre defining, or this is amazing. Because if you play it now and didn't experience it back then, it's not. It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, without that like dual analog, at least it's just it's pretty hard to get into.
Yep.
Yeah. Did you sort of get into many like first person shooters after GoldenEye? Was that sort of a gateway drug into that side of things as well, or was that maybe just a more one-off type of thing on Nintendo 64?
I think that was more of a one-off. I played a bit of Perfect Dark, but nothing on the level of Bond, like the franchise, I guess, the story. Knowing GoldenEye was a really good tie-in as well. I went through that game. You do the cheats and finish the levels on certain time constraints to unlock stuff, and some of those were quite difficult, really hard. And even on Double O Agent, the levels were quite hard too. So I kind of just stunk a lot of time into that. Never really jumped outside of that into other first-person shooters. I think at the time, coming off the SNES, I was like a lot of turn-based RPGs and other like RPGs as well, which is totally different to what I play now. Like if you said like, here's a turn-based RPG, I'm like, no thanks. I don't want any of that.
Like when you said Earthbound, I'm like, huh. Okay, because that is not what I would say is a buddy game in 2021.
That's right. It doesn't fall under the buddy game criteria, but one of my favorite games of all time. I guess it comes down to like the characters, the quirkiness, and the turn-based stuff didn't really faze me at that time. I guess that's what a lot of games were. Another one that I really love, and I know Max Cooper over on the Pop Culturist loves as well, is The Illusion of Gaia. Which I guess at that time I was kind of like, all right, this is the type of game I love. Like I loved Zelda, A Link to the Past. It's my favorite game of all time. So I'm like, all right, any game that has this top-down thing where you can see the character and travel this big open world and have these like adventures, like they're the ones that I'm going to go for and try and play. So
yeah, and like they're the type of games, especially back then, when you can just like get lost and explore the world, find all the secrets and that, and especially maybe not on the Super Nintendo, but on the original Nintendo, that was something quite special when the original Legend of Zelda came out and actually had like a battery in the cartridge where you could actually save and it wasn't just going for high scores and stuff like that. So yeah, I can see why that would be like a big standout memory from back then. But it's a if anybody knows you, buddy, it's a no secret that you're a big PlayStation fan. So, like you said, the store, you had access to the original PlayStation. You talked about Nintendo 64. What was your relationship sort of between the Nintendo 64 and the PlayStation 1? Like, did you just sort of play them evenly, or did you lean to one side depending on what games you preferred? Because like you said, you're into like RPGs and JRPGs at this point. Were you exploring a lot of the JRPGs on the PlayStation side, or
no, not really at all.
Right.
Like on the PlayStation side, it was, I guess that's kind of more open up to more obscure experiences like Cooler World. I absolutely loved Cooler World. That was fantastic. And then I got like heavily into all like the wrestling games, a few sport games there, Jonah Lumber Rugby and everything like that. So I think my uncle had Final Fantasy VII at the time when it was over like 3 discs. Mm-hmm. So I played a little bit of that, but I never really got into it. I think it just didn't, I don't know, something just didn't click for me with I don't know. I guess looking back now, maybe it was the art style, maybe it was the 3D movement. Like there's something so simple about the SNES and the top down and I guess having like a bigger field of view, maybe made the worlds more interesting or whatever. But I guess who knows what I felt back then. But it was definitely all the other types of games like Nightmare Creatures. I know Zach Jackson's a big fan of that. That was on a demo disc and that was quite gothic and weird, and there was this weird game called Blood that I remember playing on PlayStation. That was this bizarre type stuff. So yeah, that's probably when I got more into the obscure stuff. And I think the big thing with the PlayStation 1 was the like getting a mod chip for the PlayStation.
Oh yeah.
And then, yeah.
That was my exposure to it as well.
Yeah, and I guess that's another thing. Like that was kind of, even though it's piracy, you look back and you're like, well, now I've got way more access to all these games. You know, whether you go to the video store, burn himself, or you had someone that did it. I think we had a neighbor that had like a list that would burn them off, and you could buy them off them for like $10 a pop. So for like one
they're making money out of it too. Those cheeky bastards.
They were killing it. But I guess I'm a kid at the time. My nan and pop, they don't have any technical nous like that. So $10 a pop for a game, like that was nothing for us. You know what I mean? Like fuck hell yeah. So yeah, he'd have a list. We'd tick him off. If he didn't have it, we could just go to the video store and rent it, and kind of go from there.
Yeah, because
he would have him like he'd have like a case, and then he'd like laser copy the cover and stuff and everything, and
nice.
Have a cool little presentation about it. So.
Yeah, because I was about to say, like, one of my mates, like, this was like the only guy I knew with a PS1 for whatever reason. It was just a bit older than me, so I guess he just fit into a different demographic or whatever. But he had a chipped PS1 as well, and he had the big stack of CDs. But I think his uncle or someone burnt them for him. But he didn't have the type of experience you had. He just had a big stack of CDs, just like written in pen, like, you know, Driver. It's like
and that's it. You bring up Driver, like GTA, all these kind of things that are really cool experiences that were quite different from the Nintendo 64. And I think it was I don't know. I feel like I just moved on from the 64, from that kind of batch of games. I guess whatever friendship circle I was in at that time were really into 64. They all had 64s as well. And then wherever I moved to next, everyone had PlayStations. So maybe that's just an age thing growing up that everyone kind of transitioned to that. But I still love my 64, and I'd say it's probably one of my favorite consoles of all time for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome, because like all of my friends had Nintendo 64s, and like just the one guy I knew had the PlayStation. And when I found out like a few years later that, you know, Nintendo 64 like sold like 32 million and the PlayStation sold 100 million, I was mind blown. I'm like, I just assumed no one had a PlayStation, and everyone just like jumped on with PlayStation 2 when I was young, because I just didn't see any PlayStation 1s around. But PlayStation 2, you couldn't avoid it. I don't think I ever went to anyone's house who didn't have a PlayStation 2, except for my own. I didn't have a PlayStation 2, but
yeah, PlayStation 2 was just as huge as well. I think I got that one over GameCube. I never got a GameCube. Like Nintendo 64 was like my last foray into a Nintendo console, and then it was the Wii after that. and then I skipped the Wii U like most people. And yeah, I'm back in on the Switch. And for me, like seeing a lot of the stuff that was trapped on the Wii U come to Switch and get ported, I think is really cool. Not having it trapped there, and I love that Nintendo were doing the kind of the whole hybrid, handheld and play it on TV stuff. And for me, like when you see Super Mario Odyssey, it's like, holy shit, this is the spiritual successor to Mario 64. This is like totally aimed at me. I want that.
Yeah, like we've only been asking for it for a decade or two, so about time. But so with the GameCube, did your pops still have the store at this point, or
No, we didn't have the store that long. I think it was that 3 years. So it kind of a family event happened where we were like, all right, stuff this. Let's move closer to some other family members. So let's get out of here. Let's sell the business. So I think that was 3 years. We moved in back into 98, I think, or maybe 99, something like that around then. Bit hard to narrow down, but yeah. So it was kind of short-lived. However long we had the store for, 3 or 4 years. So pretty much done and dusted that by then. But interesting story, like with the access to stuff. My first Nintendo 64 was actually like an imported Japanese 64, and same with the my first Mario 64 was actually a Japanese copy of Mario. So I had to try and get the 120 stars in Japanese, and actually the hardest stars in the game were the ones where you just walk up and talk to Toad, and then he gives you one.
Yeah, right.
Because he's in Japanese. It's like, why would I go up and talk to him?
Yeah.
I'm not going to understand it.
Was that one of your last stars?
Sorry?
Was that one of the last stars you got, or?
I think so. I think I transitioned over to the English version by that. Like I'd done a lot of the game in Japanese, and then it came out here, and then I got the English version, and then went through it all. And then when I was talking to the Toad guys, I'm like, oh, of course.
I can only imagine if if any kids came over and they just saw what you were playing, they would have just been, what is this?
Yeah, for sure.
Especially back then when you sort of just relied on magazines and that for your video game coverage. You didn't have the internet as available as it is now. So yeah, I could only imagine how mind blown kids would have been.
Yeah, it's crazy. The other thing that I wanted to bring up, I guess, that bouncing off that point whether Pop had the store or not at the time, and with the GameCube, when we didn't have the store, I guess we didn't have as much access to games as what we did. So when I had that mod chipped PS1, that's why we kept buying them. Instead of getting a GameCube or whatever, well, we have a PlayStation. We can just get all the games for cheap now that we've got the mod chip, and you can have whatever you want. So I guess Pop was very savvy like that, if that's the term.
Yeah. I guess So why would I get this when I can just get all my games for free on this one?
Yeah, I have so many memories of the PlayStation burning out as well, because if you didn't prop them up or ventilate them, the mod chip would overheat them. So there were times there where I had I was doing Taekwondo, and I'd broken some boards, and you take the boards home. So I had these two pieces of board that I would sit, and I would put my console on top of them, so that had the ventilation underneath, so it wouldn't overheat on a stand or carpet or anything like that. Yeah. And my first PlayStation actually burnt out, and then I figured out if I put my PlayStation 1 upside down and play it upside down, it would work, because all the air would come out. So that prolonged the life of that PS1 until that PlayStation 1, until we kind of had to bite the dust and get the PS1, the little white unit.
Yeah. Well, thank God you did Taekwondo then. I didn't know you used to do Taekwondo. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm actually a black belt in Taekwondo, so
Are you actually?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. My partner's a black belt as well in Taekwondo.
Very nice. Look at that. If we go to PAX and you're going to get mobbed by the House of Mario fans and you get overrun, I can be your security detail.
Yeah, that's right. So anyone out there who's going to get out there and mug me, look out for Buddy. He'll defend me.
That's right.
No, that's cool. I'm just curious. It's not video games or anything, but when did you stop doing Taekwondo, if you have stopped?
Taekwondo I would have started it up maybe 98, and I would have stopped in about 2000, 2001.
Yep. Oh yeah. So a while ago. Yeah.
A while ago, yeah. But to be honest, like doing that made me so fit. And later on, when I started playing sport a lot more, specifically rugby league and touch, and really getting into that. Even though I wasn't, I was a bit unco with hand-eye coordination, which I picked up quite quickly, and you wouldn't have picked that seeing me now as the kind of person I am, very sporty and all that. But back then I was so unco, but I was so fit because of taekwondo. So that kind of helped me out with all my sporting endeavors. So that was great.
Yeah, that's kind of like me. Like, I'm not exactly like the most coordinated because I play soccer. So when it comes to doing all the tricks and that, I'm kind of like just like flapping about. But I can run, so that's something. Yeah. So you're right into your sport. Was there a point in your life where you're like, stop playing video games for a certain point of time because you're focused on whether it's sport, girls, school, that type of thing, or has video games always been a pretty constant thing?
It was never girls. I was definitely a late bloomer. I wasn't really interested in girls until maybe year 11, maybe year 12, in actual any kind of serious pursuit or that kind of stuff. I was definitely more into league and sport and everything. With the gaming stuff, I don't feel like I took a break, but I definitely wasn't as hard into it with the PS2 era as what I was, growing up. And obviously those were the circumstances. Even my PS2 was mod chipped at the time, which I think wasn't a super common thing in my own little circles. I think the PS1 was so easy to mod chip that anyone could do it, whereas the PlayStation 2 wasn't as easy. I didn't know too many people with a modded PS2, but every man and dog had a modded PS1. So I think that really, the PlayStation 2 really pushed me more into like movies. That was like the first time I owned my own DVD player.
Yeah, cool.
So for me, you get your first part-time job or whatever, which turned into like a 12-year job for me. You start getting disposable income. And then it was like, all right, well, I've got my own DVD player in my own room. I'll start buying DVDs, and then it becomes into like film and movie, exploration, and that like going down that rabbit hole. So for the PlayStation 2, for me, I still played all your big games, like your Vice City, your GTA 3, like they were mind blowing, especially coming from your GTA 1 and 2 with your top down perspective and that, and even like Driver and all that kind of like everything that was on PS1, just the step they took with PS2, I thought was just mind blowing. So I wouldn't say that I stopped gaming, but I definitely felt like I maybe didn't branch out and pursue as much abstract stuff. I wasn't playing like Jumping Flash from number one, or playing any Japanese type games or that kind of stuff. So it was weird. When I met Kim shortly after school, she's like, you're such a nerd. And I was like, no, I'm not. And then I didn't, I was playing football. I was playing touch. I was playing sport like 3-4 times a week or whatever. And she's like, yeah, you play all these video games, you do this, like you're actually secretly a nerd. And I was like, wait, yeah, I guess I am a nerd, throwing out all those quotation marks. She's like, yeah, you get good marks at school. You got all these systems, like you're very organized. You got all these color coded and goals and all these type things. You're not that sporty jock, or that just that popular charismatic person that everybody gets on with well. That person. You're also this person as well. I was like, yeah, all right, I guess so.
So that was like a realization for you. You never said to yourself, yeah, I'm a nerd, I'm into video games.
Well, I just thought
geeky stuff.
I guess I just thought all the other stuff that I did with video games and all that kind of that hoo-ha was just the normal stuff, and there were people that were way more into it than me. But then she was like, no, you do both. You're Blade. You're a daywalker. Yeah,
because at high school, I always knew, at lunchtime in year 12, I'll be going into the library playing Super Smash Bros. Brawl on the school's Wii. I would have my 3DS and Vita in my each pocket every day type of thing, and I'll play it in my freeze or whatever. I always knew that I was a bit of a nerd, and like with soccer in Australia as well, it might be different. It'd be very different in like the UK or something. But soccer, it's just like it's barely even considered the sport down here. Like if you're not playing football, it's just like yes, that's a gay sport. That's what a lot of the kids would say about soccer. It's kind of like I don't know. Soccer's kind of the world game, but I guess you're right.
It's weird. I think the driving factor for me that like kept me in with video games and sport and like the through line was competitiveness. I'm competitive and I like completing things, whether that's like an OCD thing or who knows, maybe I have ADHD, who knows. But like just video games is something about like discovering everything, ticking things off lists and stuff and beating things and having that challenge. And I guess that transcended into sport because I was kind of a late bloomer when it came to, playing footy, touch footy and then into league as well. So I guess I was more of a gamer or more of a that kind of stuff beforehand. And then I transitioned into that.
Yeah, right. So yeah, maybe you got a point there because like with like your GoldenEye, like Mario Kart, all that stuff on Nintendo 64, it's like your competitive angle is there, and that sort of you've got that with the sport as well. So and even now, like on like PlayStation, where you're going for like your trophies, and that's a bit of the OCD coming out in you as well, I guess, which you mentioned before. And I know like as far as like achievements and trophies go, like I've got that OCD tendency as well, but I just like I don't like have the time to be like, all right, I'm gonna rinse this game clean and then move on to the next game. I'm just like I got to turn these things off out of my brain.
Yeah,
and that's why I'm like, in some ways, I'm kind of thankful the Switch doesn't have it, but at the same time, I would love it if it did. But I just know I know how invested I'll be like in every single goddamn game, and I'll never move on.
Yeah, I guess that's why my video game taste changed as well. Like I'm not one of these people that really has FOMO too much about missing out on particular games, and I know that I don't have to play everything, and I know what style of game that I like and I play and I curate from that. So I'm not here to play Assassin's Creed that's 60 hours because I know in my mind that I'm the type of person that wants to go and experience everything. I want to do all the side quests, I want to complete everything, I want to get all the collectibles, and that's just going to be too much of a time sink. And if I play that game and I'm not able to do that, then that's going to give me like anxiety. Like some open world games give me anxiety, and it's a big feat. Like if you can get like a God of War or Horizon Zero Dawn and something that like compels me to go for that stuff, then fantastic. But in general, I kind of have these like set rules in my mind of what I do like and what I don't like. And a lot of open world stuff can be super overwhelming, a lot of RPGs as well, and putting time and investing into upgrades and all that stuff. Like I'm not here for the 60 to 100 hour experiences and all that stuff. So
yeah, because I know when I played through Spider-Man, like I went through and just got all the backpacks before I even started the story.
I did exactly the same thing. I did all the backpacks. I opened all the, tried to open up all the city as well. I did the same thing in Breath of the Wild. Like instead of going to one area, climbing the tower and opening that portion of the area, and I do the shrines on the way there. But then once I got there, I was like, all right, instead of bunkering down here and exploring this little portion, I'm going to the next one. And that was like my obsession, just to open the map. That was like my first goal.
Yeah, and that's a shame. I might have done a similar thing, but yeah, like with the shrines, it's kind of like, yeah, it's like, oh, I need to get them all, but there's so many of them, and it's gonna take days. It's gonna take days. Yeah. Travel, goddamn Hyrule, so goddamn big. So with the PS2, that was I guess a high school thing for you.
Yeah, so I graduated in 2004. The PS2 is what, 2000?
Yeah, yeah. So
that would have been like grade 9.
So that lined up pretty well for you. So
yeah, that was great.
What did you get first, your PS3 or a Wii?
PS3.
PS3.
And I had my PS2 for a good while. I don't think I got a PS3 on launch. PS3 is 2006, maybe, or 7. Maybe
it's 7, I think, in Australia.
Yeah, or maybe the back end of 6. I can't remember, but I remember my mates like I was like, he was a bit of an early adopter, and he'd get all the new tech and he'd have everything. I went to his house and played the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4. We did the opening mission where you're on the boat and it's pissing down rain. And it just looked absolutely stunning. Like, it looked amazing. And I wasn't really interested in a PS3 at the time. I'd had my PS2 for a good while. And my PS2 was mainly getting used for playing backwards compatible PS1 games anyway. Like, I was, we'd have these crazy, like, Bomberman World tournament nights and things like that. And I was just still playing old games. But yeah, once I saw that, I was like, holy shit, I need to get a PS3. And I guess the other thing was like Blu-rays as well. Like, get a Blu-ray player. At the time, it was between Blu-ray and HD had just come out, like the red cased discs.
Yeah, the HD DVDs.
I think Microsoft, maybe they were supporting that with the 360.
Yeah, they had an add-on drive which you plugged in to the back.
That's right. How dumb.
Yeah.
And there wasn't too much of those. And he actually he went all in on that as well. Even though he owned a PS3, he started collecting all these like red cased HD discs. I was like,
odd decision.
Okay.
Especially in hindsight.
And then then they went bust, and it was like Blu-ray kind of won the war, and so he had the proprietary Blu-ray player like in the PS3. So I got the PS3 then. I really got it because of Modern Warfare, to be honest. Seeing that first level was just holy shit.
Yeah. Did you buy one at $1,000 when it came out?
No, I think when I brought it, it might have been six or seven, maybe.
Okay, so yeah.
So not too crazy. It was still the Fat Boy, but it wasn't the one that could play PS2 discs. So it only had the two USB ports. I guess that's how you denote whether it is backwards compatible with PS2 or not. So yeah, when I brought that, I think I brought it from my uncle from Harvey Norman actually. Yep. So I brought that extra controller, Modern Warfare, and probably I think one of the FIFAs at the time, which almost mimicked what I brought on PS4 launch as well. So.
And with the PS3, did you sort of get more, more like back into gaming from like a bit of a more casual sort of take on the PS2?
For sure. And that's what I would jump hard back into first-person shooters, and it probably rekindled my kind of fire from playing GoldenEye and stuff like that before, because finally I'm playing online, actually have online capabilities. You don't have to pay for online. Owning a PS3, Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, I feel like just exploded at that time. So many people reminisce about that game and talk about it, how it was like one of the greatest experiences. And I was playing so much of that, and so much of the Call of Duties kind of each year as they kind of rotated in and out of the modern stuff and the World War stuff. So I really got back into that. Probably less so exploring more abstract games on the PS3 than what I did before. It was kind of just checking out here and there. Some of the indie stuff I liked. I guess you're hearing about I guess the big thing was listening to Podcast Beyond or Gamescoop, or one of them.
Definitely.
I can't remember what it would have been around that time. But that was kind of starting to engage more with games media, and I guess getting recommended like indie titles or other big AAA stuff that normally wouldn't kind of go towards. So that's kind of when I started venturing into other stuff. So
yeah, because that was a sort of a big time for me, because the first console I ever bought with my own money that wasn't a handheld was like an Xbox 360. And that's because like I wanted like access to all of the other games that weren't on Wii, which was like majority of that wasn't Nintendo games. So I bought an Xbox 360 because it was half the price of the PS3 at the time. I remember the PS3 was like $600, and like I'm looking at that at, I don't know, 15 years old. I'm like, I don't have $600 to spend on this freaking thing. So I got like a Xbox 360. It was like the Xbox Elite, just as the Slim was coming into the picture. So they like slashed the price on it. And I remember because it had no wireless card in it, so I had to run a LAN cord across the friggin' house to play Halo and shit online. But I guess I saved $200. Go me. I don't know. the idea of doing that now is just ridiculous. But I think I'm in the same boat as you. Like, I started listening to a lot of the IGN podcasts at that time as well, and that's where I sort of started. Well, I guess with the podcast, I did like pay a lot of attention to like gaming magazines and that a lot when I was a kid as well. But I guess just on like the podcast and video side of things, that was when I was like, all right, so, what is coming? What games do I need to learn about? And that's why I ended up, getting an Xbox and stuff, because like at the time with Limbo and Super Meat Boy, BioShock, the Call of Duty games, the Call of Duty was like the big reason I wanted to get into it at the time too. It was just like so much going on, and it was just like a fantastic time to start getting into gaming, because gaming was starting to be really, really big and robust. I know like the PS2, there was thousands of games on that. The GameCube had a nice little library, and the Xbox came in the picture as well. But I think that generation was absolutely fantastic as things were starting to go on. But before we continue on that side of things, how does the Wii fit into the picture of this generation for you? Was that just like, oh yeah, I'll get it and play Wii Sports and Mario Galaxy, or did you play a few more a few more things on it?
Didn't even play Mario Galaxy.
Oh, you monster!
I brought it just for Wii Sports, basically.
Oh well,
basically,
that's not a bad reason.
We played so much Wii Sports. Me and my mate Dylan, who lived a few houses down from me, who I've known for 20 plus years, is my closest friend, who I consider my brother and family. We played. He's the one I've gamed with all the time. Jonah Lumber Rugby, everything PlayStation, Wii Sports, like. That's my other competitive drive, my number one rival. But yeah, Wii Sports was the basically the reason, and also Twilight Princess.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
As well, like just seeing another Zelda game come out. I guess I missed GameCube era, and I just come from 64. I was like, I love Zelda. I want to keep going with being able to play these games, and I guess that's why I have a Switch as well. Like would I own a Switch if Breath of the Wild wasn't on it? Who knows? But it definitely tipped me over the edge. So even though I did get it for Twilight Princess, I think I only got like 4 or 5 hours into that game. Like the opening was really, really annoying, and the controls kind of pissed me off. And I was spending a lot of time at the start of the game as the wolf. And I was like, is this how the game is going to be? Like, I don't really care for this. I want Link to be the main character. I don't really, the transitioning back and forth, I don't want that to dominate this. So I kind of bounced out of that pretty quick, and then the Wii just became my Wii Sports machine. Funny story that I actually got a speeding fine. And I wouldn't have even been strapped for the cash then. I would have had like 15, 20 grand in the bank. But for some reason, I didn't like drawing money out of my bank. Like that was just, I was this hardcore saving machine. And what I would have done at the time, I think my mate's mum like wanted to get a Wii for the Wii Fitness, like the Wii balance board and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, you can buy my Wii if you want. I'm not playing anything. I'm only playing Wii Sports. And Zelda pissed me off. So I think I sold the Wii to her for $200, and then I sold Zelda. I played a bit of Smash as well. I sold Zelda and Smash privately, like for $50 each. So, and then I used that to pay off this fine because I didn't want to draw from my my savings, even though I had so much.
All right. So was your time with Wii Sports like not that long then? Was it, or was that?
No, it was long, and it would have been like me and my mate would play like maybe 6-7 hours of it straight.
Yeah, bloody hell.
It was just like bowling competitions, or I'd go around to Dylan's house, and they would still have a Wii because they had everything there. So even though I sold mine, I still got a fix from going to their house, and like I'd walk in like, all their little brothers would be like, Bud's here, yeah, Bud's here. What do you want to do, Bud? You want to play footy? You want to play a Wii? I was like, yeah, let's go. Let's do whatever you want. Or Wii baseball. So we played so much Wii baseball, and that was quite crazy.
Yeah. So was baseball your favorite sport on the game, or?
Nah, bowling. Bowling because anyone can do it. I think it's, like I said, it's accessible to anyone, and because of that, it creates good competition. Like the young kids are having a go and they're doing really well. It's like, okay, this is some good stuff. But if you're good, you're good. You can get on quite a roll, and easy game to play, hard game to master. But bowling is definitely the best. We would also have these awesome Wii golf tournaments as well. So we do it over the 9 holes. It'd be me, Dylan, and then Dylan's stepdad, and then one of the older kids who was still, younger than both me and Dylan, because Dylan's 5 years younger than me, or 4 years younger than me, and then his brother was maybe another 4 years younger. So, but he was good enough to play the Wii golf anyway. And we'd have massive tournaments, and we get to the last hole, there'd only be a stroke in it, and you got to go for the risky shot over the water, and someone would have a meltdown where they F the shot up like 9 times in a row, even though they're in the lead. And we had some great moments. It was great.
Yeah, like Wii Sports, it makes me so happy because it's just, I remember being so excited to get my Wii. I got it the Christmas of 2007, the year it came out, and my mum, like, she said that she really struggled to get one, even like all the way down here in South Australia. Like, she said she went like around the city trying to find one. Then she came back to our little town, and there was one left in Target Country. So I was really lucky that I got it that year, and I would have been pretty devastated because I was the type of kid that I went to the library after school, like, because I lived out of town, so I just hung around in town before soccer training. So I went to the library, and I'd be printing out pictures. I had this folder, and it was just called Project Revolution, and I had like all like the rumors, all of like the concept art, and I'll just have like this thing just like trying to find out what this next Nintendo console is going to be. So I was waiting for the Wii for God knows how long. I was waiting for it when it was supposedly going to be a VR helmet and all of this crazy stuff. And then when, especially like the day when it got announced that they changed the name from Revolution to Wii, I remember that day at school just being like, yeah, what?
I love how you're at school in the library printing out like stuff and putting rumors on and putting on a little folder. Meanwhile, in 2007, I'm at university. I'm doing a course called Retail Marketing and Innovation, and I'm doing an assignment where you have to pick 4 innovative products and why they were innovative. And one of my products was also the Wii.
Hey, maybe I was preparing for uni.
Yeah, I was talking about like the movement controls and how they hadn't been done in consoles before, and the unconventional controller types. Even though I wasn't a fan of it, and that was kind of the reason why I jumped off the Wii's boat. But yeah, 100+ million jumped onto it, so it definitely opened up for more casual gamers. But just on that Wii point, like, I love the Nintendo 64 so much, and so many people give the Nintendo 64 controller shit. But
the Trident,
I think it's one of I think it's one of my favorite controllers. And
really,
if you put the controller in your hand and you play a Nintendo 64 game, the game feels better with that controller. Like, I played Super Mario 64 with the Switch thing, with the Pro Controller recently, and something about the timing feels a bit off. But then on top of that, it just doesn't feel as good with it. Like, I felt like Mario 6, like the Nintendo 64 controller was made for Mario 64, with that in mind, and the Z trigger underneath, the solo analog stick, the C buttons as the camera. I loved it. Yeah,
no, definitely. Like, but yeah, if you play the Nintendo 64 game not on the controller, it just feels really awkward, and that's why I actually bought a USB hub for Nintendo 64 controllers, so you can use them on PC for ROMs and stuff.
Oh, I might have to get that details off you later.
So I just got like a cheap one on Amazon, but my problem was my Nintendo 64 controls, the analog sticks are that wobbly and just, overused that it's just I couldn't play properly. I'm like, well, it's, the idea was there, but I need a better, more like new Nintendo 64 controller. You can get like third-party ones that like are still being made today for that very reason, to use on PC or modern consoles. They're not too
expensive either. Like, I see them all the time at the shop I go. I see them. There's like USB variant ones as well, that you can just plug straight in. So yeah, I thought about it for a while, and maybe getting back into some GoldenEye and trying to beat that again.
Right. So you'd go back to GoldenEye, you reckon? See if nostalgia
for sure,
can
100%. So funny story about that. I know I'm going on a bit of a tangent here, but
no, good. We love tangents here at the House of Mario. Don't worry about that.
3 or 4 years ago, or maybe 2-3 years ago now, had a guy at work who was super into retro gaming. We used to go around to his house every Tuesday night for like a family night where like partners would come, a few people would come, and one person would cook, and we'd bring it over to someone's house, usually his house, and eat and just hang out and talk. And he had a Nintendo 64, and he like had like some kind of emulated cartridge where you could play all these games, and he was like talking up like how good he was at all these 64 games. And I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I'm pretty good as well. And he's like, all right, GoldenEye, man, GoldenEye, let's play GoldenEye. I'm like, I sat down, I said, listen, have you seen the movie Bill and Ted where they die and they have to play death in a game, and if they win the game they come back to life? GoldenEye is that game for me. I would challenge death to GoldenEye because that's how confident I am. I would beat him. He's like talking it up. I'm like, all right, whatever. I haven't played in years. And I'm like, oh, what are the teams? I'm like, all right, well, he's like, my girlfriend will play as well. Like, all right, it's you two on one team versus me. 2-on-1 handicap. We'll do that. Obliterated him. 18-1. Only died once. It was fantastic. And then I proceeded to kill him in Mario Kart, Donkey Kong Racing. What else did we play? Star Wars Pod Racer. And the only one he got me in was like a wrestling game. He got me in that one match, and then I got him in another match. But the controls are too hard to remember that from all those years ago. So you're learning on the fly. The other games, they were easy.
Yeah, just like, you need to remember all the combos and all that type of thing.
Yeah, he was very shocked, and that was a great time for me.
Just inflate your ego. And did you ever get invited back to tea, or did you just that was it?
Yeah. Back the next week. But people know not to challenge me in GoldenEye. You don't aim. See, the key is to use your C left and C right to strafe. When you're aiming in that game, you're stationary, so you want to keep kind of sidestep and keep moving to avoid getting hit and still hit. So
all right, well. See, I never actually played that much GoldenEye just because my friends with Nintendo 64s just didn't have the game, so I never actually played it that much. So I can't say that.
Imagine owning a 64 and not holding GoldenEye. Come on.
Yeah, I know. Tell me about it. Because like I relied on my mates a lot for like video game consoles. I sort of just had handhelds pretty much up until I got my Wii. So, yeah, goddamn friends. I'm going to blame them. At least I had Mario Kart and Mario 64 and Smash Brothers and the rest, I guess. But yeah, could you imagine if they didn't have Mario Kart? I'm like, what's a Mario Kart? What's going on here? Hey,
wow.
What are these eight boys racing?
I still like Mario Kart 64. That's still my favorite Mario Kart.
It is? Yeah.
Probably because I get my ass whooped in Mario Kart 8.
Yeah, I Mario Kart 8 is definitely my favorite Mario Kart. Then it's probably Mario Kart DS, then... But it would have to be Mario Kart 64, probably at number 3.
I actually owned a DS, and the Mario Kart DS was quite good. And it's a funny story. The reason I owned a DS was so that I could get like a emulator chip or whatever.
Yeah, an R4
so
card.
I could play SNES. Yeah, so I could play SNES ROMs on it.
All right, that was the only reason, was it?
Yeah. So outside of Mario Kart, on the Nintendo DS, I only played Super Nintendo games.
Huh.
On the go. How dumb. So I'd play back through like Legend, Zelda, Link to the Past. I'd play back through Earthbound. I think I did Super Mario Worlds, Super Nintendo Cricket, and I think it was NBA Jam, which I guess is the main reason I've got the SNES Mini now. I've hacked that and put all my favorites on there. And a lot of the games that I would have briefly touched on or played a little bit of back when Pop owned the game seller. So there'd be things on there, really weird stuff like Command and Conquer, but your Illusion of Gaia once again. But the Urban Strike and Desert Strike, like the helicopter games, Pop was big into those. So there's that kind of stuff on there and real weird stuff.
Yeah, because just like with getting a DS for emulation, it just seems like if you wanted the handheld for that reason, it just seems like you should have got a PSP.
Yeah, I know. I think I wanted something on the bus. Yeah, but I don't know why I didn't get a PSP. All my mates owned a PSP. Did PSP come out after DS?
I believe it came out a pretty similar time. I think they came out. I know the DS came out 2004 in the States, and it was like February or March 2005 here in Australia. I'm not sure on the PSP. The PSP for me when I was a kid was just like, it's $400 and the DS was $200. I'm like,
I think that was the breaking point for me.
yeah, that makes sense. It's double the price. Yeah, fair enough.
And I don't even know if I got a brand new one. Maybe I got a secondhand one as well.
Yeah, because I was going to ask, sort of throughout the episode, like, what do you have much of a history of handheld gaming?
It would have just been the DS. I never had a Game Boy growing up, and that's kind of weird for me because that would have been like peak Pokemon Red and Pokemon Blue, and everybody in grade 9, whenever that was, 2001, I guess. Yeah, 2001 or 2000. Grade 8, I think it was. I was in New South Wales at the time, so it's grade 7, grade 8. Yeah. Fuck, it might even be before that. I can't even remember. I guess you'd know. 2099 is red and blue.
So 2000 probably would have been Gold and Silver. It was 1996. Red and Blue came to the
Really?
States.
Holy shit!
Yep.
Then it would have been 98, 99. I think.
No, sorry, 98 is when it came to the States. 96 is when it came out in Japan.
Okay, so it would have been 99.
Yep.
You know, I would have been in grade 6 or 7. High school in New South Wales, I think grade 7, and yeah, everybody, all my friends had Game Boys, red and blue, whatever. Just I never really got into it. But yeah, the DS was it. And then I got a Vita after that, and then
Hell
we
yeah,
get into like the Switch now. So, yeah,
and the Vita it lives again. They are not shutting down the store. It'll live for another year until they say no, for real, it's gone.
I got a Vita on sale. This would have been sometime after the PS4 launch. So it either would have been Christmas 2013, or I would have got it like a year later, Christmas 2014. And there was a special, like a JB was clearing out one for like $200, and they were usually $260 or $250 at the time, and it was $200 with a memory card and Freedom Wars on cartridge. It was like some insane deal. So yeah, it was too good not to go after, especially with like the link play with PS4, and a lot of the PS Plus games were being like cross buy with Vita, so you'd have two versions of the game, and yeah, that was really cool.
God, I love the Vita so much. The Vita was my very first PlayStation console. I pre-ordered it. I got it on day one on a free at school. I went to the post office to go and pick it up. I brought it back, and everyone's sort of like, "What the hell is that thing?" And it's like, you know, just because at the time, like it's like even now, but especially at the time, like I took it out the box and it's this beautiful handheld, this wonderfully nice, big, vibrant screen. Like the graphics just looked insane, especially at the time. Like it's just, I love that thing so much, and I don't often get the time to sort of bring it up on the show. But since we're talking about PlayStation a fair bit on this episode, I love the Vita so much. I think it has a really great library. Like it might not have the type of library that makes you go, yes, I'm definitely getting that console. But once you're there, all the indie games, and especially when PlayStation actually did support it for the couple of years with their first party titles, it was just so good. And like I loved having it alongside the 3DS. They were just like perfect sort of different ends of the spectrum of one another, and it makes me so sad that PlayStation just like, all right, no, we're done here. We're just going to make blockbusters on the console and yeet. Catch you later.
It blows my mind that I can play PS1 classics on the Vita, but I can't do that on any of the big PlayStation consoles now. Play PS4 or PS5. So
yeah, it's just so frustrating.
Just let me play my PS1 games.
Yeah, especially you'll find a way. You'll hack your PS4 and you'll play Metal Gear Solid on it.
I sold my PS4.
Oh, have you? It's gone.
They were giving me too much of a good deal, and I thought I'd cash in and put some money towards some PS5 accessories and stuff. But to be honest, I would probably, even if there was some way like I could hack my PS5 to play every other console of games, I probably wouldn't risk that or wouldn't want to.
Not these days with the network and stuff going on in the background.
Yeah, my I guess own viewpoint towards that kind of stuff is definitely changed as I've got older.
Yeah. When you sort of like work out like, wait a minute, there's real people making these games and they need, you know, sales to feed their families and that. Maybe not like an EA game or something like that, you know. I'm sure they'll be fine. But like, especially when it comes like an indie game or something, there's people that rely on that money and stuff. Like there was a Twitter thread sort of circulating. Someone said, "Oh, it's only an hour and a half. Like 1 out of 5 stars. This game sucks, but the story's fantastic. What an emotional tale. Well done. Excellent writing." It's like, dude,
what?
You serious? And they got a refund for it too. It's just like, come on, man.
Oh
like,
man.
Like an hour and a half like game that just delivers an excellent story. It's just like,
It's a movie.
Yeah, as an adult, just like give it to me. As you said, like a movie. Yeah, you spend like $20 to go and see it in a theater. Why wouldn't you spend, $15 or $20 on Steam to go and do it as well? It's just
and I go to the cinemas with my wife, so I'm not spending $20. I'm spending $40. There's 2 of us.
Yeah, true. Well, the thing is, whenever I go to the cinema, I always get a jumbo popcorn for myself, mind you. My partner.
Oh.
My partner doesn't like popcorn, so I get a jumbo popcorn myself.
Lucky you.
Yeah, lucky Drew. I get a thing of Maltesers and a large Coke. And I start off with the popcorn, go to Maltesers, wash it down with the Coke. Rotate
Very
again.
nice.
Go to the popcorn, the Maltesers, wash down with the Coke.
Gee, I don't know if I could mix it. I'd have to eat all of one and then move on to the next. So Kim likes popcorn as well, but I'm the popcorn fiend in the house. So we usually hammer down the popcorn pretty much like pretty early into the movie. If it's just started, it's gone already, and then wash it down with the nice beverage through the rest of it. But I've actually got a Cinebuzz card where I can like a VIP Cinebuzz card from years ago that I still have access to, and I have free refills of popcorn on it. I've only ever used it like a few times because I don't want to miss any of the movie or anything. Sometimes I've got there early at the movies and we've like skipped dinner to make a session or something like that, and then we've cashed in. But then my mate didn't believe me. He was in the movies with me. He's like, "You get free refills?" He's like, "Yeah." And we finished and like, "You want to go get the refill?" I'm like, "I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving this movie." It was only some indie movie with Mads Mikkelsen, like Arctic or something. He's like, "Give me." I'm like, "Here's the card. Go do it." And he thought I was joking. He's like, "Is this a joke? Are you going to send me out there and they're going to laugh at me?" Like, "Here's the card. You go out there. If you want the free popcorn, you go to the counter, tell them you want a free refill. You want to risk it or not? I'm telling you the truth though." And he did it, and he came back. He's like, "This is amazing."
Oh, the idea of like free refill, but like you said, I'll never leave the theater while the movie's going. Like I'm paying for that.
Yeah,
I don't want to miss it. And if I ever do want to catch up on it, that's going to be another, I don't know, 3 months before I'm going to be able to see it on Blu-ray or whatever. So, don't know about that. That's why I always get the jumbo. I think there's a bit of an anxiety there where it's like, I've got to get a big one because what if I'm still hungry? The movie's a quarter way through, and I'm like, "Drew, you need some more salt on this popped corn. I need some more butter in my veins, and I've already consumed what I bought." And yeah, so I think that's where it comes from as well. I'm just like, just spend the money, Drew. I don't know, what is it, $10, $8 for a jumbo popcorn? Just embrace it. Who needs that $2?
I can't believe you buy Maltesers. I hope you're getting them like from somewhere else and not the cinema with their overinflated Malteser prices. You need to smuggle those in.
You know what? I definitely agree with you. I certainly did. But the last couple of times I've gone there, I have bought the Maltesers there. They've been shut for COVID for God knows how long. I want to keep that theater around because I honestly don't know where the other cinema is around me. I don't think there is another one for at least 3 hours. I don't know. I've got no idea where the next one would be. So definitely don't want the theater to shut down.
That's a great mentality. I've changed my mind. Buy the Maltesers from there. Buy 2-packs.
Yeah. Instead, I should just go to Coles, load up on lollies, just sneak into the movie through the back door, and charge my phone while I'm there as well. Really get my money out of them.
Yeah. Oh, ridiculous.
Yeah. So, buddy, let's touch on the Wii U. So, I know very well. You're not a fan of the Wii U. I've heard lots of poo-poos about the Wii U. And rightfully so. It didn't interest you enough to pick one up. But in 2012, when the Wii U came out in December on the 12th, I believe, what stage of your life were you at, and what were you sort of playing on PlayStation and the platforms you were engaged in?
What date did that come out again?
I think it came out on December 12th.
Oh, okay.
2012. I remember
12.
I remember this. I think it was the 12th. It could have been the 17th. I don't know.
I also remember it if it was the 12th because that 12, 12, 12 would have been my 26th birthday.
Oh, it was your birthday.
Yeah, excellent. It was a big one. All 12s, baby.
All 12s. You're turning 12 as well.
That would have been epic.
That would have been pretty cool. And really weird because you're older than me, but then you would have been younger than me. So I don't know what's going on.
Time travel.
Back to the future going on here. But I remember the Wii U because it was the type of thing where I'm like, I'm looking forward to it because it's a new Nintendo platform. I'm also not looking forward to it because at launch there's no game that I'm necessarily like hyped to play, and I was a bit iffy about them continuing on the Wii branding. Well, I was pretty keen to get away from that after what happened, during the Wii. The Wii was in hindsight, definitely it's a great console, but just the direction they were going, being like, hey, let's cater to casual gamers. I'm like, yeah, that's great. I enjoyed Wii Fit. I enjoyed Wii Sports, but we're all getting pretty sick of this, and they continued it on, but regardless, it didn't matter. That's what was happening. New Nintendo console, pretty hyped. I was in year 12 at the time, and that was what I was sort of looking forward to, getting through my exams, having that done, that pressure off my shoulders, and then having the opportunity, like leading up to Christmas, going down to EB Games with my mate Bryce. Some of you guys might know him. And
shout outs.
Picking up our Wii U's and just having fun that summer. That was absolutely an amazing summer for us because we just sort of just all dicked around. We're all going swimming and all mucking around, just being young kids pretty much just out of school. So a lot of my memories are just associated with that, just having like really great memories of still being kids, but just being out of school, and we created like a lot of great memories that year over 2013. So I do sort of have fond memories when it comes to the Wii U because of Mario Kart 8 and Smash Brothers and a lot of the great titles that did come to that platform. But Buddy, someone who looks at the Wii U gamepad, gone on record before, it's a Fisher Price piece of crap.
I think the whole internet has said that. Like, that's not just a me. That's a part of the meme.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I hear people say that on podcasts now. I'm like, all right, I've heard that enough. Is it wrong? No, it's not. But
but I'm over it. I'm done with this joke. Come up with something else.
So, yeah. How did you feel about the Wii U at the time?
Look, I can ham it up here and go crazy, but the honest truth would have been, I would have sold my Wii at the time. I would have seen that it's a new console called the Wii U. I would have thought about, well, the only thing that I really played on Wii was Zelda that I wanted to play, and that didn't really hit for me. So it was only Wii Sports. So I'm not going to buy one of these because I just won't play anything. So that would have been as simple as it gets. And it was weird being called the Wii U. It just felt like incremental upgrade, I guess. With the DS at the time, I always looked at the DS and I hate the DS as a console because it was the original DS, the DSi, DS, 3DS, 3DS XL, 2DS XL. Like, there was so many upgrades, and it felt like that kind of phone mentality that we get now with the PlayStation 4, the PS4 Pro, Xbox One S and X, and all that kind of mid-tier upgrades. And I hate that system because as a console gamer, I just want to put my money down, buy my console, and not have to worry about upgrading hardware until 5-6 years down the track, right? And I want that hardware to be able to kind of carry me for that long as well. So I guess the branding of the Wii U was just like, oh, is this just Wii extra type thing? Kind of like what the 3DS and the 2DS was at the time. So for me, I just wasn't playing any games on Wii, sold it, got rid of it. And then you throw all that into the mix with the 3DS and the 2DS of like, is this just an incremental thing? Like, this isn't really a new console, is it? No, who cares? And then the gamepad was just dumb. I felt like, I'd kind of outgrown that, and I was playing a lot more online shooters and more competitive type stuff. Like, I'd moved on. I wanted my console to be the media player as well with the Blu-rays and stuff. So that's it. That's all there is. It's like nothing personal against the Wii U, as much as I can carry on like, oh, it's garbage and shit. It only sold this. Like, that's just for the memes. Like, a lot of it is true. When you talk about sales and the gamepad and everything and all that kind of stuff. But I guess I'm a very logical thinker in like evaluating purchase decisions, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to get my money's worth out of this, so don't worry about it. And the price of it, I think it was like the Wii U was like $469.
It was $430 for the for the premium black version that came with Nintendo Land and some other goodies or whatever in it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was expensive. I think I got my Wii cheaper than that at the time. I don't think the Wii was that expensive. Wii was $299, right?
The Wii was $400 in Australia. I think it was.
Oh, it was. Okay.
Was it $400 in Australia? Like I said, I didn't buy mine myself. I'm pretty sure it was. Because I think wasn't it like $200 in the US?
Yeah, don't know.
So
whatever the case was,
I think it was $400 here though.
Yeah, I guess whatever the case was, I'd sunk my amount of money into a PS3, and I look what I can get with that amount of money. And I look over at the Wii U, and I'm like, well, just why is that not to this level? Like, I guess they're just going more into the direction that I'm not really into. And yeah, one of the things that really annoyed me about the Wii was like using the Wiimote sideways as a controller and then using the motion control. So once again, I just want a conventional gamepad, a conventional controller. Give me like even if it was a Nintendo 64 controller. Stop being so obsessed with the GameCube controller as well. There's just those things like
the GameCube controller. You gotta love the GameCube controller. We're big advocates of the GameCube controller here, buddy.
I'll say this right here. Fuck the GameCube controller. Nintendo, get over it. Just let it die, please. Now,
well, the funny thing is, buddy, Nintendo want the GameCube controllers to die. It's bloody the fans. It's the fans. And the funny thing is, like, it's because like the whole sort of culture around Smash Bros. Melee, how it's like, oh, this is like, you know, the super hardcore fans. There's a video circulating on Twitter that was I think there was like a line of code in Smash Bros. Ultimate. If you remove that, it removes like the landing lag of the characters, and it makes the game play a lot more like Melee. And there's been a lot of discussion about how the developers were sort of tinkering with the idea of making it the game that like the Melee community want it to be. And I'm just like, oh my god, guys! Like, you know, I'm a big Nintendo nerd. I fucking run a Nintendo podcast, right? But like, come on, just have some fun with the goddamn Smash Brothers.
I feel like if we're at PAX, I'm walking with Drew, and then people that are listening to this show, they come up and go, "Oh, hi, Drew, how you going? Who's this? Oh, this is Buddy. Oh, you're the guy that shit talked the GameCube troll," and all of a sudden they like start throwing things at me, and I feel like I'm saying that on this.
No, because I'll jump in front. I'm like, stoned. But guys, it's okay. He likes the Nintendo 64 controller. And like, holy shit, that's an opinion. All right.
That's a hot take, and hot takes are just opinions. I coined that. Actually, I trademarked it. That's my saying. If you didn't know, if you haven't been on the internet before.
Yeah, that's why I never say it. That's why I never say it, buddy. You'll sue me.
That's it. Only plagiarists will steal it from me. That's all good. That's what I was saying. Like the Wii U gamepad and all that stuff. I never really got into that. That might have just been a circumstance of where I was in my life as well. Like you'd grown up with Nintendo, you're at high school level, so maybe you're playing games a bit more. I'm out here fucking
just earning coin.
I'm paying bills and shit. Yeah, trying to be an adult.
Yeah. Oh, well, at least you're trying.
Yeah, exactly. I blame the PS3 and that kind of stuff for that. But hey, I came back around. I'm on the Switch train, even though I don't play that as much or as often as I want. I still, invested into that. Got Super Mario 3D World at the moment, so I'm excited to jump into that. A Wii U game that is now ported.
Yeah, very cool. I saw you picked that up the other day. You sent me a message. I'm like, oh, very nice. Picked it up on a nice deal, I hope. Knowing you.
Very nice deal. Got to get into that hustle, And
it'll be traded in next week, I dare say, as well.
No, I want to give this one a crack, actually.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun, especially if you can find some people to play with as well. It's quite a different experience actually being able to play Mario with people, because I think it was like that Christmas in 2013. Down the beach house, had the Wii U down there. I'm like, I don't really have anything to play with people. I'm like, wait a minute. This goddamn Mario game I just bought, I can play with people, and we had a blast with it. And it's just like when I bought it, I just assumed I would have ignored the multiplayer like I ignored it in like New Super Mario Bros. And stuff. But
yep, it's so funny you say that. Like I do remember a story now about the Wii U, and that would have been being in a JB Hi-Fi around the time that would have come out. And playing it on their IDUs. I think it was Chermside, like late night shopping or whatever. And it was like I was playing Nintendo Land, or Mario, or New Super Mario Brothers. Playing that, I think maybe it was the year after or whatever. But I was really like getting into it. I was like, oh, get it, and like internally, I'd had to have that conversation. Like, don't remember what happened with the Wii. Don't. But I just remember being obsessed playing it on that IDU for ages. Like, just do it, man. Just drop the money. You got it. Just buy it.
Just do it, man.
Yeah.
Awada's just like, come on. We've got to sell at least one of these bad boys. Please.
You say his name 3 times in a mirror and he pops up trying to sell you Wii U.
Yeah, and it worked 13 million times, but apart from that. So with the Switch, you mentioned before that you picked it up because of Breath of the Wild, since you're such a big Zelda fan. Did you get it like around launch, or did you get it the first year, or a little bit onward from that?
Day one, baby.
Ooh.
Got the Grey console, the Switch Pro controller, and Breath of the Wild. And I was annoyed that Mario Kart 8 had to come out, like it was coming out a month or 2 months later, I think it was.
Yeah, it came out
March.
It came out in April. Or was
April?
it May?
Yeah.
I think it was April. April 20th.
So yeah,
I don't know why
I would have picked that up on launch as well, but yeah, sunk my my teeth into a bit of Zelda. Horizon Zero Dawn came out 2 days later, I think, on PlayStation 4.
Yeah,
it was annoying because
it was.
I really wanted to play both.
Mm.
But then I had to kind of like do some like content. Was obligated to do some kind of content on Horizon Zero Dawn, and if I wasn't obligated to do that, I wouldn't have played that game for ages, and I would have just sunk even more time into Zelda. So, but yeah, I went down that rabbit hole hard. I didn't do any Divine Beasts up until maybe a couple of years ago, or maybe last year.
Oh shit! Right.
I went back and did 1 and 2 Divine Beasts now, but I've just been working through the shrines. So I think I've done like 90.
Okay.
90
yeah.
shrines.
Yep. So you just like chipping through it as you go, type of thing.
Yeah, so one day I'll turn it back on and try and clean it all up. I've marked the rest of the shrines on the map, so next time I turn it on, I just have to go to those locations instead of fumbling around.
Yeah, turn on the Switch, put your headphones on, listen to a couple of episodes of the House of Mario. You'll be set, mate.
That's right, mate. The perfect podcast game.
Absolutely, yeah. Like
the perfect podcast for said game.
Yeah, because I guess that is one thing about open worlds, which we were sort of complaining about the time sink before. At least you can sort of just tune out and collect things and tick it off the checklist and be like, okay, cool.
I'm not getting those Korok seeds. Fuck that.
Yeah, no, stuff that. So, you don't want the golden turd?
No. I know, I don't want the golden turd.
Yeah. And
one thing I will say about the Switch though, that I'm, even though I don't play it as much and I'm hoping to get into Mario 3D World a little bit, Mario Golf I'm super hyped and super pumped for. I love everybody's golf on PlayStation, so that I'm going to play heaps of.
Yeah, so I haven't really played barely any Mario Golf. I've only sort of recently been interested in golf games in like the past year. I actually got PGA 2021 last year on Xbox. Nice. I'm like, you know what? I actually feel like a nice chill, just like, playing golf game. I've obviously loved Wii Sports Golf, but the actual sitting down with a controller and then like, pressing A, hits the ball, excellent. Haven't really been that interested in it. I never picked it up on 3DS or never gone back to the GameCube or Nintendo 64 version. Just not really that interested in it. But now I'm really keen to get into Mario Golf, and what I want to do on the House of Mario Discord is actually start up a tournament, start up tournaments and stuff like that. I think that'll be a lot of fun within our community. So, buddy, anyone else who's listening, you're all invited. Let's start some tournaments. And what's really cool about sort of golf games and Mario Golf in particular is that you can actually do tournaments and you don't have to all be online at the same time. You just sort of like high score chasing or comparing stats to one another. So
yeah, I like that too.
Yeah, so that's what I'm actually pretty excited about, because it's it's not the easiest being like, all right, let's all catch up and play Mario Kart or whatever. But I think having that sort of that gameplay where you don't have to all do it at the same time, I think that's going to be really useful.
Yep. Yeah, it's so good. I'm declaring right now that I'm entering the tournament, and I'm going to give it my every intention of winning said tournament.
Well, it's not going to be too hard to beat me. I've got no golf experience. I'm going to play as Yoshi, and I'm going to hit the ball towards the hole, and I look at the wind. I'm like, yes, I guess I better hit it a bit that way. Excellent.
That's it, and that's all you have to do, and that's how easy it is. I don't know if the golfers or the characters have stats or whatever, but I'll see that when the game comes out. But if there's no stats or anything like that, I think I'm going to go Peach. Peach is my girl when it comes to Mario Tennis. She's fantastic, so I might continue that strategy.
Yeah, I see why. You know, she's wearing those nice golf shorts and she got her hair up in a ponytail. I see what you're doing here, buddy. Hey,
she looks elegant and classy, which is a lot can't be said for a lot of the other chums in the game. Like Bowser just looking like Bowser. Like, come on, Chief. Like, step your game up. Where's your golf shoes? Where's your golf pants? Come on. Yeah. Come to the party.
Yeah, no, you're right. I'm going to play as Daisy then. All right.
Daisy.
I want to be nice and elegant as well. But she's more of a tomboy, isn't she? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Rosalina. There we go.
Yoshi's a good character.
Yeah, but he's not elegant though, is he?
It's part of his charm.
Yeah, he's got his nice big bulky boots on. What do you reckon Yoshi's feet look like?
I don't know. I don't think he has. Like, they're not like ours. He definitely doesn't have 5 toes. He doesn't have 5 toes. I wonder if he has. I always picture him as like maybe a 3 or 4 toed type thing.
Yeah, or are those boots his actual feet? Like they're not.
Wow.
Boots.
that blows my mind. So he has no toes.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
That's bizarre.
Like all of his bounces in his tail, he doesn't actually need toes. Is that what's happening here?
I picture like a kangaroo. Maybe he's like a kangaroo.
I don't know. Someone get Miyamoto on the phone. There we go. Where's Miyamoto? No, we can't get him, unfortunately. Oh well.
Damn. Unlucky. It's the time zone, I guess.
Yeah, the time zone, yeah. They're probably asleep, They're probably working on the Pikmin mobile game over there at Nintendo. Miyamoto is just such a busy man.
Yeah, we better not disturb him.
No. All right, buddy. We've been recording for 1 hour and 26 minutes. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we wrap this episode up?
Don't know. Thanks for allowing me to come back and have a chat. It's been good just to talk to you again, to be honest. Like we text every now and then, but it's good to talk to you and talk about video games and the history with them. Like I love going through this kind of nostalgia trip. Like even just talking halfway through, I'm like, oh shit, I forgot to mention that, or the IDU story came up, or oh no, this I'm remembering all these little tidbits now. It's awesome.
It's amazing what actually comes up when you're just like exploring like your memories and stuff, and it's a powerful thing because a lot of the time we're sort of like, especially as far as like games media and maybe the podcast you listen to or whatever, we're sort of like talking about like, oh, these are the Switch Pro rumors. This might be happening. Oh, these are the latest games coming out. Oh my God, prepare your wallets. But yeah, just talking about just why we actually love this stuff and why we're so passionate about it and want to talk about it each week. It's pretty special. I think it's important that we do reflect every now and again so we don't get so caught up in marketing and all of that crap that comes with the gaming industry.
Yeah, this is definitely the type of stuff that I love doing more so than the other stuff. So yeah, thanks for making that happen.
Yeah, no worries. And we need to play some like online games. I guess that's Mario Golf or Mario Kart, or whether I get into Apex Legends or something like that.
Yeah, do it. Mario Golf for sure. Oh, 100%. Anytime you want to play golf, let me know. And there's any other PlayStation games you want to hit up, just you tell me what you play online on PlayStation, and I'll tell you if I can make that happen. Even if I don't have the game or I'm interested, I'll kind of bounce in. I've almost thought about like getting GTA 5 again. I saw a trading copy come to work. It's quite cheap for me to get. I know that Betson has played online GTA every now and then, so I was like, maybe I'll just pick this up and maybe I'll jump into that.
What was that? What's that PS5 game? Royale. What's it called? That car game. I forgot the name of it.
Oh, Destruction All Stars.
Yeah, Destruction All Stars. Do you guys still play that at all, or?
Nah. That was a flash in the pan. Played heaps. I knew there was going to be no staying power with that. Played a decent amount of it though. I think I played like 100 plus games, maybe in the end, which is not a bad effort. But yeah, I knew that was just going to be a stopgap until the next venture came out. So
yeah, because I was actually really looking forward to that on PlayStation 5, and I only played it once. I sat down and like plugged in my headphones, listened to the game. Then like all the chat just came through my controller, and all I can hear is like a foreign TV, people yelling at each other. That the haptic feedback in the triggers just like vibrating on everyone's controller. I'm like, so
I just muted that.
Yeah, so I had to go into
I think
it
they
and mute
patched
it.
that out.
Yeah, I think they did, but that was
the first week or so.
That was my experience with it. Being like, all right, yeah,
that sucks.
Let's learn this game. And suddenly, it's like, oh, what the hell? I don't know. I don't know about that haptic feedback, buddy, on the PlayStation 5. I'm not. I like
not a fan.
I don't think I am. Nah.
Wow.
It's quite.
What do you think of Astrobot?
I loved Astrobot. Astrobot was absolutely fantastic. Went through and platinum that in the first couple of days.
Yes.
Because I could, and it didn't affect my OCD too much. But yeah, I don't know. Just like in games, like where it just like wants to. I hate it when it wants to be like tight with the tension. Like you got to like in Astrobot when
Call of Duty.
Yeah, like the Call of Duty and like Astrobot with like the springs and stuff. So it just makes your fingers work more. I'm like, I don't know what I'm getting out of this. Like I don't know what you're trying to do. I quite like I forgot what PlayStation called it, but what's the equivalent of like the HD rumble in the Joy-Cons? Like that feels nice. Yes. The rumble feels awesome.
Yeah, that's really good.
But yeah, I've barely touched my PS5 actually. It's kind of just like, yeah, it's kind of sat there. Every now and again.
If there's any games that you want to play, let me know. Hit me up.
Yeah, will do.
I'm online all the time.
Even when you're at work, you're like, I'm still playing. Just like got the controller just under the desk.
Plenty of consoles at work.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you very much for listening to the House of Mario episode 183. If you enjoy the show, you can follow me at iDruby. You can follow the show at the House of Mario. And you can follow Buddy at BuddyWatson12. Did I get it right?
That's right.
It's 12?
Buddy Watson 12 on Twitter. Also at Radio Watson _ and Radio Watson on all good podcast services, Apple, Spotify, Google Play, and everything over there. I discuss all this type of stuff: music, movies, games, a little bit of wrestling, anything that comes to mind. Recently did a topic on January 26th, which is known as Australia Day or Invasion Day, depending on your background or what your perspectives are. So that was really enlightening and probably the proudest conversation I've had more recently. Going to be doing some more episodes coming up quite soon once I change podcast host, now that they're going to start charging me and limiting how much I can play. I've actually run out of plays. I didn't realize I was going to get decent reception, so I've been unable to upload stuff, but hopefully that'll change in the next month or so.
All right. So yeah, I know the podcast host you're talking about, and yes, we moved from that one as well. And guys, definitely go and check out Radio Watson on all goddamn platforms. Yeah, go goddamn and listen to it. It's absolutely fantastic. A lot of variety of what Buddy covers over there, and like Buddy said, the Invasion Day episode he recorded was absolutely fantastic, and it's maybe a topic a lot of people don't consider with the Australia Day and the date that it's held on, and how that affects the Indigenous community within Australia. It is quite important that we all sort of open our eyes a bit to how that community of people are treated. So definitely go and check that out. It's very very enlightening, and I enjoyed it very much. So definitely a recommendation there. All right, guys, the doors to the House of Mario are closed. Catch you later.
See ya.
I went to hit the button and it was just Bryce. It's just a bloody goose. When he's not here, it's just when Bryce isn't here, he's just the goose. You know, that's all his output is here.
Untitled Bryce game.
I'll play that.